Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Here again, Araceli, your host. And we are here to share a testimony from one of our participants from the program Core. And yeah, I'm gonna first invite her to introduce herself. Where are you from? Where you are? What are you doing in your life? Yeah, anything to let us know who you are.
Hi, my name is Amanda. I'm from New Jersey. I'm 24 years old. Right now, I am a student, um, a senior graduating next year, and I'm also working a job. But also within the church, I usually work for I usually help out with youth ministry, both in New Jersey and also in the Midwest as well. Mm, and yeah, right now I'm just working and doing school, and I'm also preparing myself for the matching blessing. Mhm.
Wow. Oh, very busy life. It seems
Yeah.
like
hmm
a lot of things. Uh, yeah, so you said that you're praying for matching the blessing. Um, how did you decide to join core?
Mm, I think for me, during the time that I was during the time where they were like I guess announcing it to everyone that the core program, like the registration was opening, I was at a place where I was looking for ways for more ways to like grow myself, and I feel like I was in a spot where I was kind of stuck because I wanted to find more ways to grow than like more than I was doing at the moment, but I
Mm,
wasn't really too sure what else I can do. And not saying that there's nothing else for me to do because obviously I'm not perfect and I still have a lot of room to grow. But was struggling to find like a practical way for me to do something in order to
mm,
have some progression. Um, and then I saw that core was about to start through an email. And at first, I kind of kept it in mind, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to join because I think with me, and I feel like maybe a lot of other people could relate with this, but I think for me, I kind of struggle with the idea. Like, usually I feel like, oh, I'm good enough to like, if to like grow on my own. Like, I don't really need help from anybody
mm,
else. So whenever
mm,
there's, people suggest or like there's recommendations like, oh, everyone should join High Noon and everything like that. I've always struggled with the idea of joining High Noon because I was just like, oh, if I ever join High Noon, that I consider myself kind of like not good enough to be able to like do anything to grow myself, which is kind of true because I kind of suck at self discipline, but I feel like a part of me doesn't really want to acknowledge that. And I always
mm,
tell myself, it's like, oh, like all I have to do in order to be better and be like my more ideal self is I need to be better at this. I need to be more committed to this. I need to be more consistent with this. And I always say that to myself, but of course, it's easier said than done. And so I
mm,
never do it. But I'm always aware of the things I need to do. It's always hard for me to push myself to like actually start and also be consistent in doing the things that I need to do for the sake of my growth and just, I think, just
mm,
things I want to do in general. And then my mom, I remember my mom sent me and my sister, um, like the link to the registration, being like, you guys should join. And I think after that, I took it more into consideration and I had to reflect about it a little bit. And then it came to a point where I kind of just like, you know what, don't think about it. Just sign up. It's free. There's literally no excuse. So even though I was like really like reluctant, I just kind of just opened it, no thinking, just signed up for it. And I was like, oh, well, that's happening now. So yeah, so that's kind of why I joined because I think the mindset behind it is that like of course I want to grow myself, but I think like having to acknowledge that I can't just do everything by myself and that I should be more open to like support and help from other people is kind of like opening up a next level and being able to open yourself to more opportunities to be able to take those extra steps and get the push that
Mm.
I need. So that's why I do
Mm. Yeah, that's an interesting point. I hadn't thought of that, but that is true. We want to um, know that we can do things on ourselves, by our own, and it's hard to ask for help. It's so hard sometimes, and we sometimes didn't even notice that we're struggling just with the thought of asking for help or getting support.
it.
Um, yeah. So how did that develop? Like, do you think that you got the help you needed? How the program helped you in that aspect that you were needing, to be consistent, to actually take the steps that you knew you had to take? How did that came about?
Mm, yeah, I think in the end, I really was glad that I did sign up for it. I had no regrets doing it because I feel like I think a lot of the aspects, like a lot of the like aspects of core when it comes to like discussion groups and like small groups that we like meet up with once a week and like all the resources that were provided. I feel like it opened me up to like a lot of different like resources in order to like give myself like education and internal guidance about like um things that can come with like matching preparation, like education about sexuality or being able to like defy virtues. I think was very important. I think being able to reflect on those kind of made me think about the areas those areas and how actually important it is to practice those for the sake of like not only yourself and your individual growth but like for future relationships in like the blessing or with just other people in general. um I think for me, I particularly was focusing on being able to be brave enough to like be more vulnerable and to open up about like my own weak points and about the things that I'm struggling with other people. And I think because I was able to do that, I feel like I gained a lot of support from all the other like participants. And I think one thing about all seeing all the participants is I wasn't aware how many people were like going to be in this program, and it was a lot, and I thought a lot of my friends there, and I feel like that kind of gave me the reassurance. I knew like, oh, okay, so I feel like I'm taking a good step in the right direction. And I think um especially because of that, I felt a lot of support when I was able to like be more vulnerable and um was able to see that a lot of people go through like similar experiences with like struggles and things that they want to like grow about themselves and everything like that. So yeah, and then also mm, I wanted to try to take more responsibility in my own growth as well. And yeah, I think like for core we had weekly goals that we would like claim to do with our small groups like every week. And I think that helped a lot because for me, I'm a big procrastinator. And like I said, I don't um I have a lot of trouble with starting things that I want to do. So having those weekly goals and being able to report my progress in those every week really helped give me a push for that as well. So that was really helpful. And yeah, I think just a lot of the resources that were given, like websites and articles that were given, or like podcast videos that they suggest watching. Being able to see all of those while also having the discussion group where we are able to like answer a bunch of questions all together, it was really cool. Seeing everyone else's answers, and I feel like through all of that, I feel like I gained like so much information that I wouldn't have been able to get otherwise. And I was just like, whoa, like I don't know, it just made me even more glad that I joined because I feel like if I didn't, then I probably would have missed like something that could have been really helpful. So that
Mm.
was nice.
Yeah, that's great. So how did you reconcile this idea that if I join a program, it means that I can't do it on my own? And the fact that you joined the program and you got a lot of help and help in that aspect of being able to do the things that you know that you wanted to do. um yeah, how did that process, um how did you go through that process in maybe feeling like, oh, I shouldn't do it because it means then I'm a, maybe I'm not a worthy enough person, and then you joined and you had a good experience. How did you went through that? How was that
Mm,
process?
mm. I think it's just coming to acknowledge and accept the fact that I'm I don't know, I feel like by telling myself at first that, oh, I should be able to do this on my own. I feel like I was setting like a lot of like really big expectations for myself that were kind of unrealistic in a way because
Mhm,
I feel like I kind of imagine myself as the person that I want to be, but not as the person that I actually am with the place that I'm at currently within my growth and everything like that. Because in
mhm,
my mind, because in my mind, just because I know of like what I need to do, I feel like, oh, I should be capable of this, but am I doing it? Not really. So
mhm,
I think it's just coming to terms and accepting that, um, in order to be in the place where I am in my mind, then I need to actually be able to like do all of these things that I want to do practically externally, so that I can so that externally I could be where I'm at or where I want to be internally. And
mhm,
yeah, that'll help. That kind of would help me out with achieving all the goals that I wanted to achieve. Mm,
mhm.
yeah. Mm,
So I guess it's like you realize that, putting a lot of, a big, big, big standard that
mhm,
that it's the standard that you want and you even know how to get there, but you couldn't, you were not actually doing it, right? And so it's kind of like
mhm,
reconciling with the fact that this is where I'm at, this is where I want to be. And it seems like at the moment I can't do it on my own. I can't be in that ideal, place on my own. And that's okay. And I just
mhm,
need to work on that. And maybe I need help, right?
mhm,
And just kind of like giving yourself grace for the fact that, this is where I'm at. And I just need to work on that, alone, but also with the
mhm.
help of, you know, the groups, the programs, other people. um, yeah, I feel like that's a very relatable experience. I think everyone goes through that at some point where your ideal of who you want to be is not the same as who you are right now, and there has to be something done about that. And sometimes we can't do it on our own, and that's okay. We're not perfect, right?
Mhm, yeah,
And that's
mhm,
exactly the point, that we actually have to grow, and we are social beings, so we need help, right? We can't do it everything on our own. It's kind of like asking for a patient, right, in the hospital to diagnose himself and then give himself the treatment. You need another person. You need,
mhm.
a doctor that will help you with that. So would you say that's kind of like what happened in the program, right? It's like,
Yeah. I feel like that kind of brings up like I feel like when you do try to get help and like try to like improve things by yourself like all on your own, you can it like of course you can do it by yourself but only to a certain extent, but there's
yeah.
also a part where like because you're only stuck in your own perspective and you're not able to like gain others perspective, like
Mm,
some people, like whether they have more experience than you or not in certain things, or whether they're older than you or younger than you, or whatever it is, whether you know them or not, they might be able to see something or they might know something that could be helpful that you don't know about. And
mhm,
I feel like being able to talk to other people about like to ask questions or to like try to discuss like what you think like you want to improve about yourself. I feel like seeing having another perspective is really helpful so that you
mm,
it's like it can be a bit more your knowledge of yourself is a bit more expanded, I think. So that's also
Mhm.
another thing that's really helpful too, when it comes to having like a community of people who are trying to grow and like are somewhat trying to strive for the same thing, I think. But mhm,
Mm. Yeah, that's a great point too, for sure. Uh, yeah, we grow through others' perspectives as well, right? And we don't know what we don't know. So
mhm,
by being together with other people that are telling us like their experiences and their perspective, we grow from that as well, and we get to have a more complete picture of what it is that we want, right?
yeah.
And how to get there. Yeah, that's awesome. So how did you do that? How was the program helping you do that? And what are the things that you find the most helpful in the program to help you in that regard?
Mm. I think I think I was I think mm. so taking advantage of all the resources that you get and all the things that are offered within the program, I think taking advantage of it as much as possible really helped me. Um, there was a lot of times um, where group discussions, I tried to I think I kind of fell off towards the end of the program, but remember for like the first half of the program, I tried to answer my best to like genuinely give an answer to every question that we had in our discussion group chat so that it would be something that I could reflect on. And and also there was times that we were able to give questions like anonymously sometimes. And I feel like that helped a lot as well because I was like, just able to be like really honest with my questions. And um, let me see. And I think because it was anonymous, I felt like I wasn't too I didn't have to think too much about like, oh, I don't know if this is a dumb question to ask or anything like
Mhm.
that. But I think let me see. I think being able to talk with a lot of people in general kind of helped me to open up um more. I think it helped me a lot to practice vulnerability, and especially because I forgot to mention this too, but it's like all like it's sisters groups and then there's brothers groups. So being able to be with a group of other sisters, some of which I knew and some of which I didn't, I was meeting for the first time. Everyone was really supportive of each other, and our team leader was also really there to support us with our goals and like to be able to check in with us and yeah, just to be there for us each week was really helpful. And there was also videos and little talks that we're able to see each week too, and being able to like focus on a different topic each week um helped. I think it really helped me to think about things that um things that I haven't really thought about before, or things that I was able to reflect on more. Like, for example, crushes was like something that I struggled with for a long time, but I was able to think about the concept of it more and like what it is and like how to overcome all those. Um, to individually, it was like pretty cool, but I think together, as they kind of worked off of each other to be able to make the whole
Mm.
experience really good.
What are some ways in which you were able to grow during the program that you recognize that you grew?
One of the ways that I was able to grow, um, being able so I think one thing about me, one weak point that I kind of struggle to talk about a little bit because I don't know, I don't know if I would say a part of me is kind of like, I don't know if ashamed is a word, but like when it comes to like accountability, I feel like I have a lot of trouble with the
Mm.
concept of accountability. I think because like I said, I have a lot of trouble with asking people for help and I usually like working alone when it comes to like my own growth and everything like that. But of course, like if you don't have any accountability in the things you want to do to grow, you could be like, oh, well, I don't feel like doing this right now. So I'm gonna just do it later or oh, it's actually not that as important I think
Mm,
it is. So I could just push it for another time. But I think it was a point during the program where I kind of, even though I was like reluctant, like if I should talk about this, because I didn't really want to talk about it, because I didn't really want to do anything about it. But in the end, I ended up kind of like, talking about, oh, um, yeah, I don't usually like like accountability because I like to do everything by myself. But I know that there's certain things that I'll have trouble doing if I'm not like accountable for it. Um, and I think because I was able to talk about it, like I had like a couple of friends reach out to me afterwards and like, oh, I can be your accountability partner if you want. And I feel like being able to get a lot of support from that, it made me really, I don't know, there was a feeling of relief that there are people who are just who are there for me, like who directly reached out and um was really supportive of my growth and wanted to be there for me during that whole journey. So I think the concept of accountability, because I know in my mind that it's very important in order to be able to grow in certain ways. But I think it made me a bit more open to the idea of receiving help in that way and to be able to like have someone there for me to like check in on things that I want to do. And yeah, so that was really I think that opened my mind about that a little bit more.
yeah, I can totally relate to that actually, and it's a really important aspect of our growth, being able to receive somebody else's questions on like how are you doing with this? Did you do that? And not receive it as something accusatory, but like being able to understand that that person is actually checking in on us because they care about our growth and that we are open to receive that is really important for our own growth. But then eventually, marriage, blessing the relationship with your spouse, you're both are going to be growing together. And if you're not able to receive that from your spouse, it's hard to actually grow together, right? So it's amazing that you identified that and then you were able to challenge yourself to do that in the program and then that you receive that support through your friends directly, that's really good. It just, you know, indicates that there's a really great community in your small team. Yeah. And yeah, really happy for that. Really proud of your group, of you being able to do that. Um, and yeah, it's hard because we think that we are better if we do things alone, right?
Yeah.
Um, but we are humans, and that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, social beings. We need that. We need that check-in. We need that support. So yeah, I'm glad that you were able to experience that grace from others and that uh, willingness to help uh, support you in your journey and share that journey with you. Um, yeah, so what are some new things that you learned through the program?
One of the new things that I think learning about the five virtues. I don't think I've been to like there have been times where like High Noon has like come to New Jersey and have like done little workshops and everything like that. But I don't think
Mm,
the five virtues is something that um I've ever like had been sat down and been like educated on and it had like have it as something to reflect about. And I think it was
mm,
really helpful because being I feel like all those five, honesty, grace, courage, accountability, integrity. I think that was it.
yeah,
But oh, wow, I'm so sorry. But but
you remember.
uh, I think going through the program and thinking about and constantly thinking about those five virtues, I think it made me realize how important it is to I think like not really I kind of already knew about like the importance of it in individual growth, but as I was going and like also thinking about the matching and kind of preparing for that, it made me realize like how actually important it is to be able to practice that and how important and how much it's going to be used within a relationship. Um
Mm,
because if because for the sake of the growth of ourselves, but also supporting the growth of the other person. Like we need to be honest about like the things that we're going through or if we're having trouble with anything, in order for the other person to be there to support us. We need to be able to be accountable of each other. We need to practice integrity, being able to keep our word with the things that we want to do, when we need to when we feel like we've done stuff that we're ashamed of. We need to be able to give each other grace, and
Mm,
we need to be able to like, I think even for like just first and foremost, like just be brave enough to be able to, trust in each other and depend and like kind of depend on each other for that growth, for that support and reassurance, and to be able to just speak up about those things in the first place. Um, it's really important because without those things, like the relationship, no, yeah, just the relationship in general, but also it's like everyone's growth is just kind of just becomes stagnant, I think, in a way. And if
mm,
anything, it could possibly go backwards. So I think it was kind of like it felt like a really like not mind blowing, but like kind of like a revelation that I was
mm,
like, oh, these are actually like, I didn't realize how important these would be,
mm.
um, for the future. So yeah, I'm glad that I was able to realize that. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So, um, all throughout this, like, your these questions and what you're sharing with us, it seems like you learned a lot, and you took a lot from the content, the information, and even the group discussions and what you did during those group discussions and in your group and the discussion chat. There was a lot of things that prepared you for a future relationship, right? Not only your own, individual growth, but also a future relationship. Um, so that's great because that's what we want to do. We want to help
Hmm.
you with that to have a foundation for a great future, blessing, marriage. Uh, yeah. So, what is the main takeaway from the program for you?
I think, yeah, the main takeaways for me, um, I think you could tell by, how I was able to remember those five virtues. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that was really a big takeaway. And I think
Mm,
another big takeaway, I think being able to, oh, I guess I haven't mentioned this yet, being able to like be like have more resources and being more open to like discussion about like, I guess, sexuality, and also, um yeah, I think sexuality in general, purity, all those things. I feel like it made me really want to dig in more into like high noon and like its resources to be able to like receive more internal guidance about that. Just being able to, see like what does like heavenly intimacy look like,
mm,
mm, and you know ways to be able to maintain and to practice sexual integrity. And yeah, so I was really inspired by like the discussions and like the podcasts that were being recommended to us and everything like that, to to look into those things. So that's something I've definitely been doing. um yeah. Being able
mm,
to like, I don't know, I felt like really, how do I say it, really inspired to like look into more resources. So I've been reading like a lot more like books and everything like that, and I feel like that's been really helpful too. So yes, and being able to talk more openly about topics like that with other people, I feel like that kind of stuck with me because it doesn't feel as uncomfortable now. So I think that really helped out with that too.
Sounds great. Sounds like you were inspired to take ownership for your journey, right? And something that maybe before you used to procrastinate on, now you feel like you are excited about to
Mhm.
actually take action on, right? Um, Yeah, so that's great. Like it having that practice of accountability in the program, and a better understanding on what the marriage is, the ideal for sexuality is, and how the five virtues, work on and help with all of that might have given you another level of consciousness that now you feel like more. Mm, Maybe it's easier now to take ownership of that and like do something about it. Uh, Yeah, because we always say, your North Star goal is important, your North Star goal is important. It is important to know what that North Star goal is, right? And
Mhm,
understand that. Why you have the vision that you have, this ideal that you have. And once you know better and you understand it better, it's much more exciting to take action for it, right?
mhm.
When we don't know so much about it, it's easier to want to procrastinate on it because there's like a lot of heaviness on it. So, yeah, seems like there was a lot of positive things that came out of the program. So I'm glad. I'm, happy for you that now you are informing yourself that you are taking action because you want to. Uh, so yeah, I guess coming to the last questions. What? Well, you just shared some of these things that you
Mhm.
started reading more books and listening to more podcasts for your own knowledge, your growth. What are other things that you committed to doing after the program?
One of the things that I've committed to doing more, like you said, is like less procrastinating. And if I have like goals that I want to be able to do, I'm I am more, I would say, yeah, I'm more excited to do them now. And because of that, I feel like there's more motivation to be able to like strive for those things. And it makes me a bit more aware. I think um be, joining the program from a point where like I was a bit hesitant to do it because like, oh, I don't know if I need it, anything like that. And then realizing like all of the things that I was able to learn and all of the resources I was able to gain afterwards because I took that step, it kind of makes me realize that even though I'm a bit hesitant to do something or like I feel like I don't feel like doing it, it's kind of a reminder that the you should just do it, and the sooner that you do it, the sooner that you're able to achieve and achieve the goals that you wanted to achieve. And even if it's just like small, like steps or just small checkpoints, um, it's still progress. So being able to, push myself to be able to just get those things done, whether it be reflection or being able to like, do a certain thing in order, like, for example, if you need to finish your application or do your blessing interview or anything like that, like it might take time and it might take effort, but the sooner you get it done, the closer you'll get to being where you want to be. So yeah, so I think that's something that I found very important that I still kind of try to practice now. I still have trouble doing it. I'm not still not perfect at doing that, but it's it gives me like a more of a clear path and um I guess more clarity in where I want to be.
Awesome. Um, so how do you say that you feel? How would you say that you feel in regards to your preparation for marriage, matching and blessing? Um, yeah, after having done the program, after having, you know, all this experience that we that you just shared, how do you feel about your relationship with your future marriage, your future blessing, and preparing for that?
Mhm. I feel a lot more confident, I think. Um, there are certain things where, of course, like if I think about it a lot, you'd be like, oh, am I really prepared to like be able to do this with another person? Am I really prepared to have like a really open mind and a heart for whoever I'm going to be with for eternity, basically? but it makes me more confident in myself that, of course, like I I for me, I feel like it's not like a lack of if it's not like a question of if I could do it or not, but it's more of like how prepared am I to be able to take this on. And I think because of that, it makes me a bit more confident, like, oh, it's of course it's gonna take time, but I'm still confident that I can do it, you know?
Mhm.
So yeah, there's a lot more confidence in being able to like take whatever steps are needed, even if it's going to be challenging. There's going to be a lot of challenges, of course, but I think I'm pretty confident in myself that I could eventually overcome each of those challenges. It's not a
Mm.
question of whether I can or cannot, but how long it will take for me to do that. And I think I'm pretty mentally prepared for that now.
Mhm. Mm, yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, it's great
Mhm.
to a great mentality and attitude to take on all the challenges that come with matching, blessing, and marriage, and having a relationship with another person.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Um, yeah, I'm glad that that's what you were able to feel with yourself about that after doing the program. Um, so, yeah, thank you so much for sharing your experience with us and your testimony. Um, would you say that you recommend the program to other people?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think especially yeah, I think whether you're single or like in a process, I think yeah, it's definitely a push. It's like you get so many different resources. You're able to have a lot of support from other people, whether that's a small group or just all the other participants, or like the core stuff of the core program. I feel like there's a lot of support and encouragement, and just always like everyone just cares so much about each other's growth. And I feel like it's a really good environment, and it's really nice to have such a community where everyone is, trying to practice growth and like overcoming their own challenges for like the same reason, which is like to eventually prepare for like the matching blessing. And even
Mhm.
just for like just growth in general, everyone wants that. So it's like everyone is kind of there to push each other. So I think it's really good.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much,
Mm.
Amanda. And we hope to see
Thank
you
you.
again in the next cycle.
Mm.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. See you soon.
Mm.
Bye.
Thank you.